What is going on out there, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to the latest here with the fastest 40, Dan and Trey.
Let's go.
How we feeling, brother? Some big news just broke. Really
Yeah,
important news, actually.
freaking minutes ago, man. Yeah, Creed Humphrey signed a monster deal, getting paid like a guard, baby.
Big time stuff. Big time stuff coming out for Kansas City. That interior line is getting locked up. We just got one more guy left to put to a long-term extension, Trey Smith. We can talk about that here in a second. But Creed Humphrey, man, the details of the deal. Let's go to the tail of the tape, baby. 4-year contract extension for Creed Humphrey. 50 million guaranteed, 72 million overall, putting him at an average of 18 million a year, man. That's right around where Jason Kelce was compensated during the last 4, 5 seasons of his career in Philadelphia. I know we were talking about that earlier this offseason, right around what we were expecting for this contract extension. Man, how do you feel about it? Because I know you were a big proponent of this move the entire
Yeah,
time. I was a little more on the skeptical side. We can talk about that in a second. But man, how are you feeling?
I'm fired up. I know, I think we both know Creed Humphrey's a stud of a center. He's obviously got snubbed out of that top 100, but easily top three center in the league,
Yeah.
easy, and a part of the best interior offensive line in the NFL. So locking him up is a no brainer. I was just talking to Strato about it minutes ago when you text us that Creed extended, and I could see a Trey Smith extension come by earliest Sunday, or tomorrow even. And
Yeah.
so I'm kind of seeing that domino fall right behind Creed Humphrey, which is right in line with what I think is is the right path for the Chiefs. Obviously,
Sure.
as I've mentioned, best interior O line in the league, but on top of that, I could talk about O line for days, bro. They're the anchors of the offense. It all starts up there. It literally starts with Creed Humphrey. And I mean, what a better guy to have on the squad. I mean, four-time All-State champion in wrestling in high school, goes to Oklahoma, plays ball, absolutely shreds in Oklahoma, comes to Kansas City, wins a couple rings, and gets an
A couple.
extension. What a freaking life, man.
Oh yeah, he's living it big. I love how you went all the way back to the high school days. He's hip tossing MFs out
Yeah,
the
man,
mats, and now he's
let him
doing it on the
sing.
gridiron, baby.
Yes, yeah. I mean, obviously that's a big part of his success. But as an OU fan, I like to see those guys come play ball here and have success. So it's just a little cherry on the top for me.
Yeah, we got a couple of them now, right? I know
Yep,
that Hollywood Brown,
yep.
Creed Humphrey, right off the top of my head, but
Wanya
also,
Morris.
yep, Wanya Morris. That's pretty awesome that he's getting locked up for him and all of his future success here in Kansas City. He's going to be delivering the ball to Patrick Mahomes for a long time, for
Yeah,
quite some time, really.
I'm
And we
sure
haven't.
Pat's pretty stoked about that as well.
Oh, absolutely. You know he loves that dude.
Yeah,
Um, you gotta have a lot of love for someone you're putting your hands right on their taint for
yeah,
4 quarters every Sunday. You know what I mean?
yeah.
A
That's
lot
a
of love
long
there.
3 hours
That's
for
a
either
long three
one.
hours sitting behind that big old dude.
Yeah,
But no, that's pretty awesome for him. It is exciting, right? Because he's a really solid player, all pro caliber player, potential to keep building those accolades up.
yeah,
It's huge. The center position, with him being there, that's my only slight concern is that we're allocating 18 million on average a year. We don't know what the full
yeah.
breakdowns are going to be, and knowing
Right.
how we do it here in Kansas City, there's going to be some funny way the numbers fall out. But allocating that much of your resources towards a center, I don't know. I mean, we saw that Jason Kelce was a true difference maker in Philadelphia, obviously, and I
Yep.
could be, put my foot in my mouth right now and saying it, but it is something that you have to be a little bit skeptical about, at least a little bit, on how much you're going to be able to apply that everywhere else. Because what I've always talked about when it came to a Creed Humphrey extension was who does that leave out if we're extending Creed Humphrey? Who from that draft class is not going to be paid and is going to have to see their way out? we have not seen Kansas City pay centers traditionally, even though they've done really well drafting them.
in
Right.
years.
Rodney
Years.
Hudson was a big one
Mitch
that we
Morris.
brought in. Mitch Morse, yep, out of Mizzou. So there's been a run of centers there, and it's almost like, why wouldn't you just trust your ability to draft another guy and let him walk? But obviously, that's a glue type of guy in the
Yeah.
locker room, on the offensive line. Love what he does here in the community in Kansas City as well. So in my mind, a very positive signing, but there is definitely a part of me that's concerned about what the Chiefs are going to be able to do with the cap and whether or not that means. I know you threw out the prediction of Trey Smith getting his contract extension, and that's been the rumor, right? They want to lock up that core, that interior.
Yep.
But then that also has me wondering, what does that mean for Nick Bolton, right? What does that mean for? We've already seen them make a decision at defensive back to not pay L'Jarius Sneed, and maybe health
Yep.
plays into a factor there a little bit. But what does that mean for Justin Reed, who's on a
Yep.
contract year, still under 30, and is playing some of the best ball of his career?
Yep.
And really one of the vocal leaders of the defense, too. So all of those other pieces all are coming to mind as we're
Yeah.
starting to pay these guys and make them the highest paid at their position. Butker, Humphrey, Kelce, all these guys are the highest paid at their position currently.
Yeah.
And eventually the buck has to stop somewhere.
Yeah, I'll kind of give you a theory I've always had here as far as contracts and structure of how the money gets allocated on a team. And obviously, I don't know how the Chiefs operate in a sense like this, but and I'm
Mhm.
sure it's more aligned with how you're looking at it. Broad stroke, whole umbrella, the whole team. But I kind of piece by position group a little bit, and with that being, like if you look at D line, you kind of have to separate D tackles and D ends because the pay scale is so different. But if you look at the O line, it's relatively, it kind of trickles from inside to outside as far as pay going up, right? And so I think looking at the O line, looking at that structure, looking at our O line, I think they feel comfortable enough with Kingsley at left tackle. We got this guy on a 4-year deal, 4-year rookie
Mhm.
deal.
Rookie deal, yeah.
Juwan Taylor absolutely robbed us, obviously. Joe Tooney's got 2 more years. Trey Smith is still on the rookie deal, looking for an extension. So the money is there from an O-line standpoint, if that's how you're going to allocate a certain amount of funds to a group, right? And so I think when you look at the linebacker position, then talking about Nick Bolton, how is he going to get paid? I think there is maybe a mutual understanding or an understanding or a thought process at One Arrowhead Drive that we can probably get Nick Bolton on a really cheap deal next year for maybe a 1 or 2 year deal to kind of extend him out and feel him out a little bit longer. We know Nick
Mhm.
Bolton's a freaking stud. That's a no-brainer. But over the last and really focused on last year, health was a huge deal for Nick Bolton. Already
Yeah.
this year, left training camp one day with a wrist issue. So I think if those things continue, we're going to get a steal out of Nick Bolton. I think that's my thought process there, looking at the draft class and how that money transitions. But I tend to look at money as a group oriented structure and where can you allocate cash. So
Yeah.
obviously, Chris Jones got his. He got paid like a DN, like a stud DN.
As he should,
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not saying he shouldn't.
for sure.
He's kind of the outlier there as far as distributing by groups.
No, 100%. And it is funny money, you know? Like the salary cap is all about what can you do red tape wise? Okay, we can restructure here. Do we have the cap? Are we liquid enough to pay this guy out for a restructure, shift some of his guarantees to right now,
Yeah,
get him paid out, shift it to a bonus? Like there's all of these different pieces that you can do as you renegotiate and restructure with your team that can make this definitely a little more flexible. But Creed Humphrey locked up for the long term beyond the rookie deal, so it's safe to say he's going to make the roster come preseason cuts.
yeah, that'd be a pretty hefty uh, lump sum there. The Chiefs would have to eat.
No kidding. No kidding. Well, we'll talk about some more of the roster here in a little bit, but Adam Sandler, man. Adam Sandler comes on Fallon tonight and dropped a bomb on America to let them know Travis Kelce is going to be in Happy Gilmore too, among some other golfers and celebrities. Of course, I imagine it's going to be a star-studded affair, but
Yep.
our very own Travis Kelce getting some share in the limelight there in Hollywood.
Yeah, seems to be a common trend. Just first thought at Happy Gilmore 2, when these things roll out, they're just not the same. They're never the same. And maybe they're not trying to be the same, but they're never better. And so, I think if Travis really wants to hit his mark here, he's gotta jump in a different movie with Adam Sandler and create that comedy instead of jumping to Happy
The
Gilmore
redo.
too. Yeah, yeah, you can't be a part of a remake, man. And but Happy Gilmore's it's gotta be a top 3 Happy Gilmore movie. So, if you're gonna remake one, it might not be a better one than Happy Gilmore 2. Although, seeing Travis Kelce in class behind God, what's his name in that movie? Where he goes back to school. What the
Billy
hell is that called?
Madison.
Billy Madison, dude. Can you imagine Travis Kelce sitting behind him in class, crisscross applesauce? That
Oh
would
my
that would be
gosh.
a pretty good one. That would be a pretty good
Just
one.
send both of them back to school. Little
Yeah,
buddy comedy, but they both go back.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know. That's one of those ones. If they ran that back, it'd have to be a total remake. Like you can't do Adam Sandler. You gotta let Travis Kelce play Billy Madison in what it would look like today, like school today.
Or
You know the
Travis.
gap, like the gap in school today from when you and I were in school to now with all the technology and the things kids are doing. Like that could be actually a really funny remake.
Yeah, or Travis and Jason go back to school.
Just throw the brothers into all these scenarios and see what
Yeah,
sticks. Most of what they're doing is churning out some magic. So I mean, I can't say it would be a total failure by any
yeah,
means.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Adam Sandler's a stud, man. Stud.
Oh yeah, dude can he can do no wrong. So we'll wrap it up because it's the final preseason game of the year. Chiefs are playing the Bears tonight. Neither team playing any of the starters. They're really letting those secondary guys get their reps in and really see if they can push to make a spot on this roster. And it's a tough roster to make because of how deep the talent is in a lot of the different areas. Let's talk about wide receiver.
Yeah,
Wide
yeah,
receiver
big
in
one.
particular, there's predictions that 7 wide receivers could be kept. I think that's pretty deep
Andy
in
Reid did it
terms of
last year.
do what?
He did it last year. That was his first time he's ever done that. Last year.
I'm just I guess my question is, and it's kind of similar to my take on the Creed Humphrey contract, who does that leave off the roster? Because running back is really deep too, or there could be a
Yep.
lot of potential
Yep.
for some big names to ultimately not make the team. I
Tight
think
end.
the biggest names right now to watch in those two groups are like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kadarius Toney, obviously being one of those guys on the bubble. I think it's not far off to say Sky Moore could potentially be on the bubble in that
I
position
agree.
group.
I agree.
Now, Andy Reid loves his special teamers, and maybe they'll have him returning some kicks, but I
Yep.
mean,
Remigio.
those are some considerable names.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the tight end room too. Irv Smith is on the outside looking in at this point,
Yeah,
at the tight end 4.
exactly.
A guy who played a lot of ball last year. We're freaking deep at tight end right now.
Everybody wants to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I mean I was listening to 96.5 The Fan, the new 610 radio station. It's over
Yep.
on FM now. And
Shout out to Odyssey Sports, baby.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They were talking about, the potential of bringing back the fullback position and putting Carson Steele at the fullback or listed as fullback and keeping Prince in the running back room, which I'm not mad at that either. But
Nah,
I do know that Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, and who's my other guy? I lost his name. TCU just drafted.
Imoni Bates, is that his name?
No, no, no. Our other tight end.
Oh, Jared Wiley. I thought
Yeah,
you were talking
Wiley,
about the
Wiley,
running back.
Wiley. There we go. Thank
Yeah.
you. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're locked in. Like I said, Irv
Jared
Smith,
Wiley
look on
feels
the
so locked into me. I mean, that
outside looking
kid is
in.
just built like something different.
He is different, man. Just freaking hands of Randy Moss. I mean, he just got the hands, man. He runs smooth. He runs like Travis, no hard cuts. He just kind of rounds his routes and finds holes and does his deal. So I think he's gonna be a stud in the future. But yeah, we're really deep at positions, and really it all comes down to special teams. What impact can you have on special teams, and then also have an impact when you play ball on the on offense or on defense. So those tight end guys, not a huge impact on special teams, although Noah Gray was long snapping last week. Love to see that. Big long snapper guy here. And
Hope Winchester's feeling better.
yeah, Carson Steele returning kicks just 10 minutes ago when I was watching the first couple plays of the game. He returned the kick for us
Returning kicks.
after Chicago scored a touchdown. So I mean, you get that guy running full speed 20 yards down the field. I mean, that's trying to tackle a horse, man. So
Good effing luck
yeah,
with
dude.
that.
Yeah, you hear galloping. You're like, what the hell is
Yeah,
that? And
let's
then you
let
just hear
Derrick Henry return a few kicks.
yeah, right.
Basically, like what the hell are we doing
Yeah, yeah,
here?
yeah. So, yeah, it's going to come down to special teams. And I think there's a lot of trust from Andy Reid over to Dave Toub and to make a decision on who he's going to be able to utilize the best. But, at the end of the day, back a couple of years ago, we shifted, or the NFL shifted from nine, 9 slots on the practice squad to 15. So that allocates some more resources back or
Yeah.
down to the practice squad and create some availability where we saw guys coming in last year before that were critical to us being able to go out and win 2 Super Bowls back to back. So I'm not mad at any decisions made, and nothing's final. A lot of things could change even after
Yep.
week 1 in Baltimore. Bring some of those guys up after some injuries or some struggles, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, most NFL teams are pretty active after the preseason where they, bring a guy onto the practice squad, rotate a guy out. Someone gets injured week 1. Now you're going to elevate that guy who is maybe a bubble,
Yep.
the bubble guys on the roster coming out of the preseason. Those are all pieces that are very well going to be moving as we continue to, make our way through the season. One of the guys in the wide receiver room I want to talk about, I think, has earned his spot. And I'm not talking about McCole Hardman. I think he's earned his spot as well. But this is a guy who was hyped up a ton the last 2 years coming out of college as a UDFA. He had those back issues from Clemson. It's
Yep.
Justin Ross, man.
Yep.
I think he's very well earned a spot on the roster now. I don't know how many quality snaps he's going to get into the regular season, minus, potentially with this Marquise Brown injury
Yeah.
coming out. He could get a few more reps, but he showed out, and he looks much improved. Hopefully healthy as he keeps moving through. But definitely a guy that I think is in on this roster when it
Okay.
comes to guys who were potentially on the outs coming into the season here.
So Dan, let's do this. We got 7 slots. Marquise Brown, lock, right?
Yep.
Rasheed Rice, lock.
Yep.
Xavier Worthy, lock.
That's 3.
McCole Hardman, that's a lock.
Feels like a lock to
Who's
me
your
at 4.
who's your 5? Watson, lock.
Watson. Yeah, I'd
Yep.
give it to Watson. And
Okay,
then
6.
who you have at 6?
I'm asking who you got at 6. Who's filling 6 and 7?
Feel like it's got to be. I mean, let's say it's Justin Ross and Sky Moore. That leaves Tony off the roster. But
Who's
then there's
returning
potential
kicks?
for it to be what's his name? Remigio, another guy who's got a
Remigio?
lot of play. He
I
comes
know.
in and takes both their spots, and they X them both, put them on the practice squad. I mean, there's potential for that.
Yeah, I think
I mean,
Tony's on the
truly.
outside looking in here. I think Tony's gone. Um, I think there may be 200 people in the Kansas City area that want to see Sky Moore play football in our red jerseys ever again. And it's hard not to give Justin Ross the nod, but I don't think he's gonna. I think he's gonna practice squad it again, brother. I think Remigio is gonna get the 7 slot with Sky Moore getting 6.
Remigio over Justin Ross, I don't feel
I
like I'm totally against you on that one.
You can be against. You don't have to be against me, man. I'm not calling the plays here. I'm just
I'm
saying.
against you, Trey.
I'm just saying that's where I think everything's gonna fall apart. So or fall in the line there. So
Yeah.
that's what I see before the weekend.
Well, I mean, that's one of those things. Well, as we move through the preseason and wrap up this final game, I mean, these guys are really fighting for their spots.
Yep. Yep.
Cornell Powell, another Clemson guy, been on our practice squad for a while. He's battling it out. There's another wide receiver, Harris, I think is his name. He's been showing out, putting up some highlight reel type of catches in training camp. I haven't seen much of his reps in the preseason here, but there's a lot of hungry guys who want to make this roster.
Agreed.
Monty Bailey, that running back out of TCU I mentioned earlier, that's another guy that I think could supplant, one of our other running backs on the roster.
Yep.
Pacheco, to me, feels like the only true lock at
Yeah,
running back.
agreed. Agreed. 100%. Yep. I was kind of expecting CEH to start the game tonight against the Bears, and Prince started the game.
I think that might tell you about where Andy Reid and company are sitting
Yeah.
on Prince. It tells you one of two things. It tells you Prince is likely not going to make the roster, or it
Yep.
tells you that they know what they have in CEH and they want to get one last look at Prince to
Yeah.
maybe
I think
bounce him out, because I don't think there's a scenario where Reese Zammit and Carson
no.
Steele don't make this roster.
Oh, I don't think re-Salmon. I think he's gone. I think he's getting the boot, brother. I
Oh,
think
wow.
yeah, I think it's Isaiah Pacheco, CEH, Carson Steele, maybe Prince.
I'm not mad about that running back room, though. I'm not mad about that at all.
At
Like, if
this
that
point,
ends up being what's
I
that?
almost think Steele is more of a lock than CEH is.
I feel that way too, just from what we've been seeing. That kid is a freaking beast. He looks hungry, and he's going to be. You know how long it's been since the Chiefs have had a short yardage guy that you can like rely on every snap?
Larry
Pacheco
Johnson,
could be that guy if he didn't take 15 steps behind the line of scrimmage to get geared up. Like,
dude, Carson Steele's got some Pat Tillman vibes.
just a freaking hero.
Just a
The
freaking
guy just
train
looks like
running
a
around.
freaking hero. What's
Oh
his
yeah.
name? Mike Allstott.
Oh no, man. That guy
Mike
was a
Allstott.
certified killer. He was all but a felon, bro.
He's burying dudes out there. Just burying dudes.
The judge, the jury, and the executioner.
Oh my gosh, good luck. Line up against Mike Allstott coming out of the
Yeah.
backfield on goal line
Lights out.
situation.
Lights out.
Concussion.
Yeah.
Concussion. He's
Yeah.
responsible for so much CTE, dude.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, that's good conversation though. It'll be exciting here in the next when's the cutoff for 53 man?
Oh man, you catching me with my pants down here. I'm not sure what the date is on that. Obviously, it's going to be before September 5th. I want to say it's typically like,
27th.
okay, there you go. I was going to say that weekend before the start of the season is typically when rosters are trimmed and ready to go.
That's
So,
Tuesday.
um, yeah, I mean, we're right there. These guys are,
Yeah.
whoever's getting cut, they got 5 days left to prove themselves here in Kansas City, and
Got about an
a lot
hour
of those
left,
guys are going
really.
to go on to get other opportunities, and you just got to wish them the best of luck, 'cause it's a tough game, man.
Yeah, sure is, bud. Sure
Tough
is.
game. Well, speaking of tough game, Chiefs potentially could be losing their third straight preseason game. Luckily, that doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
All that matters is
At
the
all.
season is going to get kicked off on September 5th, man, and I'm looking forward to it. Next week, we'll be coming at you with pre-games and roster reviews and all kinds of fun stuff. Getting you
Yep.
geared up for the kickoff, man.
Dan, we'll be at Arrowhead before we know it, boss.
I can't wait to drive in and smell the smokers and all
The
the
beer's flowing.
porta johns.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Well, appreciate y'all for listening to us. We're almost there. We are so freaking close to getting the NFL season back. Make sure you follow the show at the fastest_40 on IG and Twitter. Of course, shout out to our partners at Odyssey Sports as we gear up for season 2 with them. Shout out to our producer Bryce for always cutting it up and dropping those episodes for us. And appreciate y'all for listening and watching. We'll see you when we kick this season off, baby. Trey, you got anything for the people?
Let's go, Chiefs.
Peace.